Well, here we are again, folks. The title of this excerpt, if you clicked onto it, you noticed was nothing in, nothing out. And I have this picture in my mind's eye when I say that. The very first thing that pops into my mind when I say that is if you walk up to an ice cream machine and you put your bowl under there and you pull the lever down and nothing comes out. So you move to the next one and nothing comes out. Well, somebody didn't put anything in and nothing's going to come out. And if you don't put something in, nothing's going to come out. So the life is putting in and taking out. Putting in, taking out. Putting in, taking out. I think of the great vats that my father used to make cottage cheese in when I was a young man on the farm. And they'd pour the milk all in this big vat and they'd curdle it. And then you could throw some vinegar in there and curdle it. And then you could take this big paddle just like an oar. And my dad would take that big paddle and he'd stir that milk, stir that cottage cheese until there it is, cottage cheese. And they'd put it through a little heat process and pasteurize it, and then they'd put it in the containers and then they'd deliver it house to house. This was back when things were simple. Life was simple, and we jugged milk. We'd milk the cows. We'd put the milk through the machine up there, and had a bottler in the barn, and they'd turn around in a circle and had bottles in it, and you had these little cardboard caps you stuck on top of the bottle, and you milked the cows, you put the milk in the bottle, and that was back when real cream would be on top of that bottle, and after a while sitting there, you'd have that much dark yellow on the top. It was almost butter already. And you could take that cream off the top, which Mama used to do and all other people used to do in that day. They'd pour the cream into a separate container from 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 quart bottles. And then when they got enough, they got a quart of straight cream. They'd dump it into a thing with a churn with a round wooden paddle in it and had a stick. You plunge that thing up and down and make butter, because Mama and we were very poor, so we'd make cream, 1 bottle of cream, one 4 or 5 ounces of the cream off the first quart jar. We'd put it in a bottle and we'd shake it like this, and we'd shake it and we'd pass it around. Us kids would. Everybody take a turn shaking it. Pretty soon it began to clabber, and then it'd clabber, and pretty soon here's this chunk of butter in there rolling around, and you could dump it out, and you had a little butter. Mama put a little salt in it, and then you had some butter you could use on your toast or on your potatoes or whatever. And that's how simple life was. And you say it was sounds like it not very simple to me, but it was. Life was simple. It was up before daylight, 3 o'clock in the morning. You'd be walking up the road to the farmer's house, 2:30, 3 o'clock. You're walking up the road, headed to the farmer's house to milk the cows, and help them milk the cows. And then, by the way, you had to get back to the house, clean up to go to school. And so there was always something to do to keep you busy, keep you out of trouble. But during all that period of time, those folks followed God, the majority of them, and they worshiped the Lord, and they had a life that was blessed by the Lord, and they took the little means that God gave them. They treated them right. They put them away. They used the ground, by the way. This year, the Lord has showed me that we have really, we honest, goodness gracious sakes alive, have we, the American public, have we gone so far away that we have forgotten that eggs don't come from the grocery store. They come from the hen on the farm. And if you don't protect the farm and the hen, then you're not going to have any eggs one day. And that's what's happened to us today. The actual United States federal government has paid people to not grow food, to not milk cows, to not plant gardens, to not do things, just like our abortion clinics have paid people to kill their babies, to kill their young, so they'll not be an expense on the United States government. I got news for you. They have killed off 2 or 3 generations of those people right now that today would be making the money to keep the Social Security working and everything else. No country in the world, in the history of the world, has ever put a ceiling on the amount of children that people could have in that country and survived. You can't do it. You will never survive. Abortions will never make a country survive. Let's not get on that subject. Let's get back to what we're talking about. Put nothing in, take nothing out. You put nothing in the ground, you're not going to take anything out of the ground. I was going to say a minute ago, we planted a few cucumber seeds. We're getting a half a bushel every 2 or 3 days. We're getting half a bushel of cucumbers. I mean, you can watch them grow. You go out there and look, and it's this long. You go out there in a little while, and it's this long. You go out there in a little while, and it's this long and this big around. Man, you can almost watch that cucumber grow. And we got one little bitty spot of ground yielding that half a bushel of cucumbers. How big is that ground, Peter? That ground that the seed that I planted in is about 1 inch wide and about 3 feet long. And that's all. And I scratched a line and I poured that bag of seed in that line and I covered it up. And now it is yielding bushels of cucumbers. Well, you know that land's been there. I've owned this land that I'm on right now about 13, 14 years. That land's been sitting there for 13, 14 years, as long as I've been here, and never yielded a cucumber. Do you know why? I didn't put any cucumbers in it. But when I put them in it, it worked, and they yielded them. And I stuck a tomato plant in out there, and it's yielding. I stuck some potatoes in out there, and we ate fresh potatoes the other night in a fish chowder out of the garden. I've stuck a cantaloupe plant out there, and it's growing, man, just all over the place. And got some cantaloupes on it. You know what? If I hadn't put anything in, I would have got nothing out. Now, my wife, she plants beauty. She plants flowers. And she's got some of the prettiest. People comment all the time. Wow, your wife's got the beautifulest garden. She does. Do you know that she weeds it? Do you know that she's out there right after it's daylight, just as soon as it's daylight just about, after she does her Bible reading and her morning devotions and everything before she goes to work? She's out there pulling weeds, watering, primping around those flowers. She comes home at night, pulls some more weeds, primps around them a little more, sticks another flower in, moves the flower from one spot to another, picks off the dead ones, takes care of them. Hey, nothing in, nothing out. If you do nothing, it'll go back to the wild. It'll go back to nothing. It takes something to do something. Have you got the Lord in your heart? Can you do something? Have you asked Jesus to forgive you if you sin, come in your heart and save your soul? Can you follow the Lord? Can you grow in the Lord? Can you put